I don't talk about the Viper anymore. Not because I don't want to, but because people don't believe me. They call me crazy. They laugh. But I know what happened that night, and I can't unsee it. It was supposed to be just another thrill. My friends and I had spent the day at Black Ridge Amusement Park, hitting every ride we could before closing time. By the end of the night, the park was practically empty, and we found ourselves standing in front of the Viper. The coaster looked ancient, almost alive in the dim light. The track twisted into the sky like some kind of skeletal monster, the metal glinting dully under the floodlights. People said the ride was cursed, that it had taken lives. But curses are for ghost stories, right? We laughed it off, daring each other to ride. Of course, we didn't know that would be our last mistake. The operator was strange. He didn't speak at first, just stared at us with these hollow, bloodshot eyes. When he finally spoke, his voice was barely a whisper. "You sure about this?" I don't know why, but something about the way he said it made me hesitate. My chest tightened, and for a split second, I thought about turning back. But then Logan shoved me forward, laughing. "Come on, don't chicken out now!" The restraint slammed down with a force that made my ribs ache. The train jerked forward, the wheels screeching like they were grinding against bone. The climb was endless. The chain clanked and groaned, and the higher we went, the colder the air became. By the time we reached the top, I could see my breath, even though it was the middle of summer. That's when I noticed the park below. It was empty. Not just quiet, completely abandoned. The lights were still on, but there were no people, no staff, no movement. The train paused at the peak, hanging there for what felt like forever. I remember gripping the restraint, my knuckles white. The silence was suffocating. And then the train dropped. The speed was like nothing I'd ever felt before, like we were falling into the earth itself. The wind was so strong, it burned my face. But something wasn't right. The track didn't feel like the one I'd seen during the day. It twisted in ways that weren't possible, sharp angles and impossible loops. I couldn't catch my breath, couldn't even scream. The air felt heavier, like it was pressing down on me. Then, I looked back, and Logan was gone. His seat was empty. Not just empty, pristine. No sign of him, no restraint flapping open. It was like he'd never been there. "Logan!" I screamed, but my voice was lost in the roar of the ride. The train plunged into a tunnel, and everything went black. The darkness wasn't normal. It wasn't just the absence of light. It was something else, something alive. I couldn't hear the wheels on the track anymore, just this deep, echoing sound, like a heartbeat. And then the whispers started. At first, I thought it was my friends. I called out to them, but the whispers didn't stop. They grew louder, overlapping, until they were a deafening chorus. Words I couldn't understand. Words I didn't want to understand. Something was in the tunnel with us. I couldn't see it, but I could feel it, this presence pressing against my chest, crawling under my skin. And then I saw them. Eyes. Dozens of them, glowing faintly in the dark, watching. Something brushed against my face, cold, damp, and impossibly long. I screamed, flailing. But there was nothing to grab, nothing to fight. When the train burst out of the tunnel, I gasped for air. The cold was worse now, biting into my skin. I looked back again. Every seat behind me was empty. I was alone. The train didn't stop. It kept going, faster and faster, the track stretching out into a black void. The park was gone. The sky was gone. All I could see was the track spiraling endlessly ahead. And then I saw the others. They were standing along the sides of the track, motionless,